Hey everybody, welcome to day 2 of the free 5-day workshop. I hope you found yesterday insightful and lots of things came to the surface when you started to consciously think about things in those 4 elements, those areas of our lives, and that we've made a step forward because we now know what we need to work towards and move away from, which is what it's all about this week, is those tiny, simple, manageable steps forward. And then by day 5 on Friday, you'll be like, oh my goodness, I have just done this. I have got some huge realizations and I am breaking free from this cycle of anxiety. So here's to day 2 and what it's all about. So as you can see here, it's all about limiting beliefs. And I want to share with you a method that really helps you to get visual, because I feel that by being visual, we can actually clear that head fog and see what it is we need to do and implement how we're going to do it very, very easily using this structure. And it just really helps to sort of get clarity, really, and pinpoint what's holding us back, how we talk to ourselves, how these blocks and limiting beliefs and this negativity keeps us trapped in that cycle of anxious behavior, that high anxiety state, so to speak, where everything just feels way too much, very overwhelming, and you're sort of stuck. So by using this method today, it's not going to take long. I'm all about keeping it simple, manageable. As a busy, anxious mum, the last thing we need right now is more rubbish to deal with and more deadlines to meet, so to speak. But this is for you. And if we don't start doing something very, very simple and manageable, then nothing's going to change, is it? Everything's going to stay the same. And you're just going to continue on that hamster wheel in that anxiety, of the mum guilt, loss of identity, the overwhelm, and feeling very, very, head fog and not calm in our day, and really unsure where to start with it. So day 2, limiting beliefs. This is going to really, really help you move forward from day 1. Now you know the root cause. So how can we pick it apart? It's not true. It's not real. Let's pick it apart, take away its power, and make a lovely, shiny new one. So I just want you to do one. I want you to start small. This is going to become a habit, but we need to consciously work at it. We need to think about this until it becomes a natural habit. So we will just focus on one belief. Okay, let's not go straight to the top of the mountain and think, oh my God, there's all this stuff that I need to deal with and I don't know where to start with it. I just want you to start with one. So what came to the surface, what came to the conscious yesterday in the first day of the challenge, and now what is it we want to work on to take away the power, pick it apart, and then concentrate on a lovely, shiny, new belief, something that is true, and we can get focusing on that, get that unconscious mind to soak that up and tell ourselves, wow, we are actually doing it and we are doing a really good job. Okay, so by picking apart this limiting belief, we take away its power. And this tabletop method that I'm going to talk you through now is how we're going to do it. When we look at NLP, or use NLP, should I say, which I draw from neuro-linguistic programming, so it's all about our thought processes, how we talk to ourselves, using the senses around us, how we see things, hear things, smell, all these elements in our world that fuel, or they can fuel, this anxiety that we feel sort of stuck in. So with NLP, if we get visual, we can see things clearly, and we can see, okay, this is what I need to do here, and this is how I'm going to do it. And sometimes people don't work well that way. Sometimes they prefer other methods, which we can cover. But for the moment, for today, and this tabletop method, it's all about getting visual and using the framework of the tabletop method to knock down that limiting belief, take away its power, it's not real, and make a lovely, shiny new belief that's going to build our confidence and our self-worth, our self-love, how we're going to start talking to ourselves and treating ourselves. Okay, so with the tabletop method, it is literally a table. Think of a table. So what I've done is I have a worksheet for you to be able to go into the Facebook group, and you will be able to download the task in there, and it's broken down, and there are elements to answer some questions and some questions to ask yourself. Again, we're bringing things to the conscious, we're bringing things to the surface so that we can just feel acknowledge, those light bulb moments are going to come, and they may feel painful. They may feel like you don't actually want to deal with them right now because there's a lot of hurt there, there's a lot of emotion there that you've buried away. But if you allow yourself to do this, you can then take away the power of it, and we can let it go. And holding on to the past, years and years and years and years of hurt and anger, has developed these habits of negativity and how we treat ourselves. So by doing these things here that we're going through every day this week, it's going to take away, that negative talk and free you from being stuck in these emotions and these, self-talk sentences that you've come to say to yourself daily. You're not good enough, you're a failure, things are never going to change, this is the way your life's going to be, all these things. We're going to take away the power of that by using this method. So if you imagine a tabletop is your belief, your limiting belief. So through talking with many other mums and my clients, the main thing that seems to come to the surface when I ask people this question is, what is a limiting belief? Tell me something about yourself that you feel that is holding you back. And very often people say, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Why would he want me? Why would she want me? Why do my children love me? Why does anybody want me? I am not good enough. And we feed ourselves that constantly. So we feel it. And that's how we get stuck in that cycle. So that tabletop is the limiting belief of I am not good enough. So that tabletop, it can't stay up there and stand without legs, can it? A table doesn't work without legs. And a table has 4 legs. So a table can actually stand with 3 legs, believe it or not. Obviously, if you put something on the part of the table without a leg, it will wobble, but it will still stand. So what we want to do is we look at the limiting belief, the tabletop. The table legs are the evidence holding up that limiting belief, the tabletop, so that table leg here could be somebody said something to you that's horrible, that's stuck with you and is fueling that belief you're not good enough. So that's one table leg. Somebody else has fallen out with you, doesn't want to associate with you anymore, bullies you, treats you miserably. That could be another leg. All these legs are evidence holding up this tabletop, okay? And this is how we're going to pick it apart, because we're knocking down those table legs, because we're going to see that there's no evidence supporting these thoughts and these emotions that you're having, and we are going to make the tabletop fall down, okay? Remember, it can stand with 3 legs, but we want to try and pick apart as much as possible. So I strongly believe that pulling down all 4 legs of evidence is a really, really strong point to start, okay? But that tabletop method can only stand by you allowing it to. That limiting belief can only stay up there, controlling your thought process, if you allow it and fuel it. And you are going to stop doing that by taking down these table legs. Hopefully you're with me so far. As I'm going through this, obviously this is a recorded video, but you can happily just tag me and ask me a question in the comments in the group, and I will certainly get back to you and answer any questions. And obviously I'll be live within the group of an evening to talk things through also. So please don't panic if this isn't quite sinking in. And I said earlier as well about the task and the PDF and the group, that again explains the table leg method and how this works. So don't worry, we will get there and you'll be able to do this, no problem. So I've got an example. I'm all about examples. I personally am a visual learner. I learn better doing, I learn better seeing it, and I can clear the head fog and the distortions that I have by seeing things. So I'm going to go through this example with you so that you can get a bit of a better understanding and clarity about what this tabletop method is actually going to do for you and your limiting beliefs. So let me just move my little screen. There is the table. There is the 4 legs. And that top there is the belief. So this belief in this example is that the earth is round. And we know that in the past there was a huge question mark around this, and that they thought the earth was flat, and that if you sailed far enough you would fall off the edge. Obviously that didn't happen. Obviously in the present day we know the earth is round. So let's think about that. We know the earth is round. These table legs are the evidence to show that the support is that the evidence is there supporting that the belief is the earth is round. So one table leg here, I'm going to use my little fancy cursor. NASA has photos. We have photographic evidence that earth, our earth, is round. Okay, so that is one table leg. We are fed this in school. We are taught this in school. We are taught this by our caregivers, by our peers, by the world around us. We are taught in school that the earth is round. So we are drip fed, the earth is round. So it's in there, it's in the unconscious all the time. And things spark it, things trigger the thought about what shape the earth is. And like I say, we are taught it by many from a very young age throughout life. Another table leg. So we actually personally can sometimes see a dome shape in the sky. And so that's that evidence that the unconscious mind needs. Yeah, okay, the earth is round. I can see the dome shape in the sky. The earth is round. So that tabletop belief is standing firm. We've got our 3 legs. And then we go on to our 4th. There is no other evidence to suggest otherwise. There is nowhere else that are saying, actually, yeah, if you continue to sail across the sea, you will fall off the edge because it's square. That didn't happen. There is no evidence for that. The only evidence that we have got, that we soak up and we process in our minds, is that it's round. And all these elements around us in those table legs are holding up the belief, the table top. So conclusion of the belief, yes, the earth is round. You with me? So when we break this down, we apply this to us. Okay, the tabletop here, I'm not good enough. What is in the legs holding that up? What evidence is there that you are not good enough? I worked with somebody not so long ago. They felt extremely low, fretful, fearful of a relationship that they're in. And they felt that, they're just not good enough to be with that person and in that relationship, which is utter BS, not true whatsoever. And to be fair, as soon as I just started working through this tabletop method, we didn't even get to fill in at one table leg because there was no evidence. There was not one piece of information that would give some validation to the belief and to the thought. So we actually couldn't even draw a table. So by breaking things down, NLP is a huge method, a huge tool used of chunking information up and down, which is a whole other area that I can help you with. But if we chunk down and focus, really bring it down and focus, so using this method is going to help you do that, you can actually think, hold on a minute, all these things that are going around in my head, all these things that I'm thinking, all these things that I feel are real and are holding me back, if I get this out of my head and onto paper, if I use this framework, can I actually make a table? Maybe you can't. Maybe you can't make a table. For me personally, my table, it was going back to my darker days, my days after my 3rd child and postnatal depression, which brought high anxiety and was really, really low. My table was I wasn't a good enough mother. I'm not good enough to be here for my 3 kids, and I'm not good enough at being a mum. They deserve better. And that was my tabletop. And my legs, in my eyes, were full of evidence to hold up that belief that I'm not very good at being a mum and my kids deserve better. But what I did, so even though I filled my legs, my 4 legs, to hold up the limiting belief, I used the questions that I've uploaded in the group and I picked it apart, and it was all in here, in my mind, in my beliefs of how I feel about myself, the way I talk to myself, the self-love, the confidence that wasn't there. So everything that I was using to hold up my tabletop was actually not real. It was all cognitive distortions, and it was all things that I had sort of manifested in my mind because I was so low and felt so anxious and lost. So really, even though you're holding up this limiting belief with some evidence, you may feel that there's validation there for this belief. When you go through the task that's in the group, you will be able to pick these apart and knock down your table. Okay? Again, ask me any questions and tag me. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to go to the Facebook group, the free Facebook group. The link, you're in it, and I'll put the link in here too. And you can go in there and you can download the PDF and you can just have a little refresh of what this tabletop method actually is, and then ask yourself these questions. It's not going to take long. Be honest with yourself. Don't overthink it. Just what comes to your forefront of your mind, your conscious, when you think and ask yourself these questions, and just go through the process and just choose one. Don't overwhelm yourself. Choose one and let's work on that one. And what happens is the more we implement this thought process, this habit, the more it's going to become natural. It takes 21 days to 28 days for a new habit to become your go-to behavior. So if you're consistent, accountable, as well as being flexible, because let's face it, life happens, kids happen, work happens, you know, don't beat yourself up if something doesn't go quite right. Excuse me. But, you know, be flexible. All those ingredients are going to help you make that step forward when it comes to this limiting belief and this, you know, way you're talking to yourself and how you feel about what's going on around you. You know, what's the blocks. So, like I said, tag me, upload into the group what's come to the surface. We can work through it together. It's a safe, confidential space. Nobody else can see it other than those in that group. Obviously, be kind to each other. That group is in a fantastic space for this. You know, you're very, very good at holding each other up. And, you know, that's the gold about the group and about doing things like this workshop. You are all in there, all in here, should I say, with similar, if not the same, issues when it comes to anxiety and how we talk to ourselves and how we feel about ourselves. So when you realize you're not on your own, it is a game changer and something I really wish I had had in my time when it was so dark. So that is why I'm here, that is why I'm doing this, and I'm helping everybody else because I don't want anyone to feel the way I did. And just these simple steps throughout these next 5 days are going to change your path. You know, they're just going to make things completely different for you when it comes to anxiety and finding yourself and getting free from that cycle. So I can't wait to see what happens and what tabletops get knocked down and what lovely shiny new tabletops you create. And ask me anything, and I'll see you tonight within the group at 8 p.m. UK time, and we can talk about it, ask me questions, and if there's any blocks still, you know, you've gone through the process, you've gone through these questions and in the task, and pick those apart, and you still find it a bit of a challenge to knock those beliefs down, don't panic, okay? I can help you, and this is a process. It just may take a couple of goes, so don't worry, okay? So I will see you tonight, 8 p.m. UK time, and of course, I'm in the group throughout the day to answer and help as much as I can. All right, so take it easy, and I'll see you later.